Welcome back to the Shipyard. I said, hey, it's July. Let's hang out. Let's chat. And I figure at this point, no one is actually here yet, at least not watching live. But that's okay. We're getting people showing up shortly. Uh, I'm posting the link. Facebook. So, yes, I'm back. I've had my kind of week off. I've enjoyed my time. I've been posting old contributor stuff. Hopefully, that hasn't been too boring or anything. Went through video footage. Again, hopefully, you've enjoyed that. Um, it was my way of getting some time to rejuvenate, to recharge, uh, and Origins was fantastic. Guys, I had a blast, and thank you all for doing uh, for supporting me, for uh, being part of the reason that I could make that happen. Without my Patreon supporters, it never would have materialized. And you all are fantastic. And it's not just that. It's everyone who watches these videos. It's everyone who is a part of the Shipyard. And by that, I don't just mean the people who do videos. It's the people who watch, the people who comment. You all are a part of the Shipyard. Um, you make it so that this is truly a community. And see, I describe the Shipyard as this: we are a hub for what goes on. This isn't just about Star Trek Attack Wing. It's primarily about Star Trek Attack Wing. That's our main focus. It's the main center of operations that goes on here on the channel. But there's Star Trek gaming that happens. There's Star Trek Ascendancy. There's uh, there's probably going to be some other gaming that happens. It's July. I'm going to do my top 100 board games list again. I did that last year. Did a ton of people watch them? No. But I have fun making those lists. And I'm going to do some of the things that I have fun with. Later this year, I'm going to do a lot more board game plays, not to detract from the Star Trek focus, but to continue broadening the horizons of the Shipyard. Nick and I, and probably at least one other person, are going to start a series called Journey to Babel. We're going uh, to talk about Star Trek Discovery and the Orville. That's a Fox comedy that's essentially a Star Trek parody. It feels very Galaxy Quest ish to me, and it just seems fun. So we're basically doing a talk about it show, and I think it'll be a lot of fun. I think it'll be a fun forum show. Uh, we'll be happy to have guests on. We'll be happy to have people come in and share their thoughts. It'll probably be done as a hangout after episodes air. We'll get a chance to watch it, kind of collect our thoughts real quick, and we'll go live. And we'll just talk. Are we experts? No, not at all. But we're fans, and we're people that have fun with stuff. Is that amusing? We'll see. We'll see if it gains any traction. Um, and then we're going to have Star Trek Adventures, the RPG. I just got a PDF download of the rulebook, the core book, not just the rulebook, but the core book, 380 pages of core book, and boy, is it it's fantastic, but it is a little overwhelming to me as I've said before, I do not have a lot of role play experience. Uh, I'm eager to learn. I'm going to be reading a lot. I'm going to be uh, watching videos and getting advice, picking up the tools, the tricks that I need to make myself a better storyteller. Am I going to be the best GM in the world? No. No, I will never pretend to be that person. But what I want to do, what I want to become is someone that enables players to have fun. Someone that creates an atmosphere where people enjoy themselves. And I believe what I'm going to do is have two campaigns running. One for for local players, and one that I'm going to run online. And with that, I will probably open it up to people in the Star Trek Attack Wing community and some of my friends that I uh, don't get to see in person. I have friends in LA. I have friends in Ohio now. I have friends in Indiana. I have friends all over the Midwest, thanks to Origins. And yes, I will probably have to limit spaces just because you don't want to have an RPG with like 30 people. That becomes crazy. But I'm not opposed to running a multi-ship campaign, and and Will, I'm talking about the Star Trek RPG right now. So yeah, it there's potential. There's potential for all things. As for my Star Trek Attack Wing campaign, I think right now, at least the Task Force Bravo side of it is dead. I can officially call it dead. I'm I have thoughts to reboot it, but it would reboot from scratch. It um, the notion I had was to go to Fremont and film games with Robert, but then I started playing in Fremont OPs for Attack Wing. So our opportunities to play with each other, play Star Trek Attack Wing with each other, phrasing, that's for you, Tucker, um, are very limited. And yes, I could do the RPG over Tabletop Simulator, or not the RPG, the STAW campaign over Tabletop Simulator, but I feel like it loses something at that point, um, because it is so much more about pulling out these random ideas and being able to throw out random board elements and things that just don't exist in that format. So, plus introducing custom cards. Uh, so, yeah, the Star Trek Attack Wing campaign is basically dead, um, and it's just timing. It all comes down to timing. Uh, but board game stuff is going to happen. I don't get the views on it, but I have fun with it. I probably have more fun playing the board games, filming the board games, editing all of that than I do with the Star Trek campaign. And at some point I have to do what I have fun with, and it feels less like work than all the Star Trek Attack Wing campaign stuff. So what I will do at this point is encourage the other people who are doing Star Trek Attack Wing campaigns. If you want to film your games and edit it, you are welcome to post it on the Shipyard. I will gladly take that. If you want to film your games and send me the footage, I will edit it for you. Get in touch with me because I would love to have that kind of footage. And if you want to post it on your own channel, let me know about it. I will make a video and get people to your channel to watch that footage because campaigns are awesome. I know they are tough to film. Trust me, they are tough to film. But as someone who really filmed more attack wing than anyone else at this point, now having been privileged to film uh, nationals and worlds, um, I think I have some credence in being a film guy for this game. I don't know how. I have no film background, but uh, that's that. And two of those matches were filmed on my iPhone. Yet they turned out okay, aside from being slightly askew. The World Championship semifinal between Jordan and I forget who he played in the semis. Was it Dustin? No, it wasn't Dustin. Was it Kaylee? It might have been Kaylee. It was on a slight angle. So people just turn their head a few degrees and it all works out. Uh, yeah. Anyways, I got to film stuff, and that's more than I expected going in, and that speaks to a new direction at WizKids because uh, I don't know that that would have happened even a year ago. So that brings me back to Origins. The conversations I was able to have with, well, basically everyone that I could get a hold of associated with WizKids were fantastic. Um, Scott Diagostino, and I'm still butchering his last name, but he's one of their marketing guys. He actually lives in California, and I know this solely because we had a flight. We shared a flight from Columbus to Phoenix, and then split ways because he was flying on a different flight than I was. Uh, but we were able to talk, and he saw me and he's like, "Hey, David." Uh, but he's the guy that leads their most of their presentation at the fan event. But he was so enthusiastic, and I caught up with him on Saturday during Worlds and just chatted. I thanked him for his enthusiasm and how he was kind of feeding off of Tucker's and my reaction. And but he said, genuinely at WizKids there's excitement about what's coming out for Attack Wing, and this isn't fake. This is not them faking. Jimmy, who's their like Dice Masters lead, um, I saw him on Sunday during teardown. He was taking down a banner on a chair. I said, "Hey Jimmy, can I spot you so you don't fall or anything?" And then I helped him curl up the banner and whatnot. But he said, "Hey, yeah, you're the Attack Wing guy, right?" I said, "Yeah, I do the daily YouTube channel about it." And I said, "Yeah, that's something Dice Masters doesn't even have." He's like, "Yeah, I know." It's a friendly rivalry at that point. But and he conveyed his excitement about Attack Wing. So it's it's a different enthusiasm though. They What's there is the previews they've showed from these card packs is it backs up the enthusiasm they have. What exists in the faction packs with the Romulans and the Dominion, it backs up what they're saying. It's Kyle, who is like the new Star Trek product lead. I think he took over last year. I remember seeing a picture of him at the WizKids dinner last year because he's friends with Ben and Richard, who are the like two head judges. And I was actually privileged to go to the WizKids dinner. I'll talk about that more in a minute. But yeah, Kyle had a lot to say, and I don't want to quote anything because I don't have permission to quote things, but Kyle is a lot more forthcoming about things. He was real open and honest. He spoke about the OP packs and how there's some cool cards that they can work in that they wouldn't be able to work into like a normal release because they don't necessarily fit with the ship. Not that everything fits with a ship, but it's the reason we're getting Sherlock data, right? He doesn't necessarily fit with any given ship, but he fits on a random ship. Um, it gives me some hope that we might see a Moriarty someday. It gives me hope for a Morn card, a Kess, a Neelix, a Guinan. Let's hope for a Guinan someday. Um, and I mean, a Pulaski is like, why haven't we seen a Pulaski? But it's those types of things. I I feel like more than ever, WizKids gets that they're serving a niche community, but a very passionate community. The ones of us who are still here are their market, and we're a loyal market. We may disagree on what's best for the game, but we're willing to give them a chance. And I've said it before, WizKids has one chance to get these rules right. Because if they get them wrong, that's going to be it. People will sell off their collection like nobody's business, and that's that. That's probably the death of the game. Uh, the rest of the year and maybe into quarter 1 of next year is basically the future of Attack Wing. If it sells, it continues, and if it doesn't sell, it's done. And yes, Steve, Mott the Barber would be fantastic. I have no idea what he would do, but if they can give us a Morn card somewhere down the road, they can give us a Mott card. Both would be a lot of fun. So here's hoping. It, there is there's something. I, I don't have the same backing that you do, Will. I don't have uh, the same impressions to go off of from previous years. But in talking with Tucker, who has been there in the past, he said that this is different than the past. This is a genuine hope for the game that's coming from WizKids employees, and it's people can fake that. Like they really can fake that. I understand that. But I feel like you can't fake that in total. And the people I know that talk to me from the inside, who know stuff, they I know enough to know that good things are coming. I don't know all the specifics, but I know enough to know that they're at least trying and that there's more organization that's happening now than there ever has been in the past. To me, you don't do that if you're trying to end a game or trying to kill it off. You do that if you're really trying to make things better than they've been. Well, yeah, I see it's tough. I you know, there were 26 of us that played in nationals. If you bring in Lon Porter, who didn't play in nationals, there were essentially 27 of us there for Star Trek Attack Wing. Of those 27, there's a lot of knowledge that got passed to different people. And Tucker and I probably found out more than anyone else because we asked questions and were press. That's we're put in this weird position of knowing things without being able to tell other people because we're asked not to. And so it leaves us speaking in generalities to try to assure people about things. And it's I hate that I'm being put in this position, and I'm putting myself in my own position of saying, guys, just hold on, good things are coming. I promise good things are coming. And then I'm still leaving my fate in the hands of a company that has a shaky track record. And I don't know how many of you are familiar with everything that's gone on with Star Trek Ascendancy, but they put out the main game last fall. Expansions were due out before Christmas, and expansions still aren't out. And now they're saying expansion should be out by Gen Con, and now people are all up in arms about that. And it's just say what you will about WizKids, but at least they get product out. That can be good or bad, though. See, I take the Nintendo philosophy. I'd rather have things late and good than on time and bad. But there are limitations. You don't want to delay forever and have no product. So uh, some things are out of control. That is the reality. So uh, it's there is a balance to all things. It it will all come together. I don't know. I don't know what more to say beyond patience is good. It sucks to wait. I hate that there's this delay and that we're sitting kind of twiddling our thumbs and going, well, maybe, hopefully, someday we'll get stuff. Um, but I think that when we do, well, cautious optimism is the best I advise. Is don't hold your breath, take everything with a grain of salt. And when the new rules drop, I'll be live to go over stuff. I will probably have other people with me dissecting it because I'm not going to catch every little thing. And we're going to deal with it all. We're going to talk about how this changes the game because that's going to be the main topic of conversation for a long, long, long time. Because those new rules will be the biggest change to this game, probably since they changed the Borg with the 360 fire and the way that the Borg spin. Um, yeah, so nationals. I don't think I've actually put my national story on camera or actually in text. So here's my national story. Uh, so I'm 2-1, round 4 of Swiss. And I basically like 55 minutes in, maybe 58 minutes in, I moved my Enterprise A in with second of 5. I used second of 5 on my opponent's Borg ablative hull armor, so I'm up 10-0. and my opponent gets a shot on me, gets like takes off some shields, and then gets another 6 die attack, gets 2 hits, 2 crits through. That takes the shields off, 2 crits go through. First crit is a minor explosion. That's the roll attack die. I roll a hit. That's an extra damage. Okay, no big problem. Second crit, direct hit, dead ship. He's got 80 points and he wins the game because time had been called. So I lost my chance to play in Worlds off of 3 lucky events after time had been called. Right? It was the damage deck doing absolutely screwy things. Now I completely misplayed. I should have been first okay with a tie, a 0-0 tie. As crazy as that sounds. Let the attack dice do what they may. But then 2, I should have played it slow, brought warp jump back onto my ship because I had a warp jump on my shuttle. And then I could have ganked and warp jumped out, and I would have been up 10-0 and won the game. And my opponent never would have been able to catch me. And that it would have sealed me. I would have been 3-1. I never would have had enough fleet points to make top 4. But yeah, the only reason I didn't make Worlds was that I misplayed. I had to play Peter in round 2, and he looked at my fleet and he was scared. He was legitimately scared. Tucker will attest to it. Peter was more shaken playing my fleet than he was at any other point, probably until the World Championship. But at that point, Tucker had never seen Peter nervous in a game of Attack Wing. Peter's basically a machine. Ben's a machine. Joseph, not quite a machine, but pretty close. But yeah, and Peter just knew how to play, and I'm playing in my second game of a big tournament with a fleet that I'm running for the second time because my original build got hit hard with a ruling, and I'll go into that. What I was originally going to do was actually, before I go into that, yeah. So Steve had the misfortune of playing my fleet because I then ran that fleet through quick plays because I learned how to play it. It's a fleet that has 2 warp jumps on each ship, essentially. So good luck killing it if I don't want you to kill it. And then the Hathaway also has Ibex Dynasty. So I've got double warp jumps and an attack cancel. Plus lure and faked message. It's board control, it's attack negation, and it's get out of dodge. Unless you're running like 5 or 6 ships and you can fan out and prevent me from warp jumping and coming back on the board, you don't really have a chance. Yeah, I won matches 6-0, 3-0, and a 0-0 tie and a roll-off win. It was just I have a match or a fleet sheet where I went 3-0, 9 points. And I was perfectly content to play that way. It perhaps it's not healthy for the game, but it's allowable right now. The whole goal of the fleet was to get warp jump to be nerfed, but then we realized that co-pilot needs a nerf first. Yeah. Oh yeah, my opponent tiebreakers were garbage, absolute garbage. So the fleet I was going to run, which would have been a little bit more honorable, looked like this. it used HideCon. Now, why HideCon? Because HideCon hides lure, temporal conduit, and then I also have the benefactor on the ship. Now, the reason you do this is so that you can you discount the cost of lure to be 4 points, and then you use temporal conduit to bring back lure with 3 time tokens. But the benefactor then has mission tokens that you discard in exchange for time token placement, so you instantly have lure back on after you use it. So you get 2 uses of lure. Your other ship has faked messages, and with that you can almost fly any ship off the board unless they set everything up in the middle, but that's your own advantage because you set your fleet up in a corner, and that's just time for you. Also, both ships have a warp jump on them, and you run Gen Cisco on a shuttle. So it was it was a better fleet that way. It was a little weirder. Um, so you also have Matt Decker. So it's Con Decker and then Lure Benefactor are the 2 talents on that ship. Fake Messages is on a second ship. So that's how you get away with that's how the talents are distributed. Temporal Conduit is a tech. It's a mirror universe only tech, or it costs a whole bunch more points. So I'm running all of that on the 1764 Defiant. And then Quark hides a warp jump. And then of course it's like Type 8. Or not Type 8, just upgraded phasers. And a systems upgrade gets me an initial tech slot. Systems upgrade in a weapon slot gets me the tech slot for temporal conduit. There's all kinds of shenanigans there. So this would have been the fleet that I was going to bring, but this is the one that got ruled away. The fleet that I played in Nationals is the exact fleet that Peter ran in Worlds. So and Peter ran it in Worlds with permission because Robert built it. Robert built it. I guess he kind of had it, but he built it for me after all of this went away. We spent hours kind of crafting it. And then so we got that fleet together, and as Peter, Joseph, Tucker and I are sitting in Peter and Joseph's hotel room. Peter's been on Skype with Robert for hours. That's where the phone or the picture that I put up on the Shipyard Facebook page came from, of all of them kind of working and me just goofing around because I had nothing to play for at that point. I had nothing to do. That's where that came from. Yeah, and Peter eventually said, "Wait, this fleet solves every problem I have. The only problem it didn't solve is quality. He needed co-pilot, but what are you going to do? Run one less warp jump?" It's a choice. It's a choice you have to make. So the rule that killed it is that temporal conduit only brings back printed cost of 4 or less. That's how the judges decided to rule temporal conduit. And believe me, I was not happy with that ruling because it goes completely against what's printed on the card. And I could have gotten away with running the combo and making a big stink about it because I'm not violating any rules as the cards are printed. And there's nothing in Wharf, there's nothing anywhere that contradicts those wordings. They use some ruling about Quark, and Quark having to do with printed cost and faction penalty accounting, and they justified it somehow, but I really don't I really don't buy it. I still don't buy it. Um, so there were no major ruling problems during Worlds. I asked them this on Wednesday during quick plays. Uh, because I knew that it had the potential to cause issues, so I wanted to ask and get a ruling beforehand. So if it did go against, which it ended up doing, I had a day and a half to rebuild, or 2 nights to rebuild. It still sucked because when you have practiced a fleet, when you've played a fleet, when you are comfortable with a fleet, and then you are told, no, you can't do that, it kind of messes with A, your confidence, and B, your comfort level. And really, like I I went I played Jared Hoffman's son in the first round, and he's young. He's a good player for being young. Like, he's less than 10 years old, or maybe he's 10 years old. Um, and Jared, if you're watching this later and your son's older than that, I mean, no disrespect. Uh, he just he is young. He's not a teenager. Um, but he played pretty well. He had triple fighters and 2 constitutions, and then a Hathaway built to 30 points, or a constellation built to 30 points. And so I ended up killing a fighter, but he did most of the damage to his Hideki fighter because he ran through obstacles in my minefield. And then I was able to get his constellation, and that was 50 points. And that's all it was. Uh, and so then I run into Peter, and okay, Peter plays it so I get nothing because he doesn't want to see me in top 4. And I get that, but then Peter doesn't make top 4 either. And another 40 points, if I could have gotten one of Peter's ships, I would have made the cut. I would have made the cut to Worlds. Is that worth it? I don't know. Yeah, and so then round 3, like, I'm reeling. I play Alan, who's like in his first tournament, and I lose the Enterprise on a stupid play of my own, like, just hubris. I should have warp jumped out, but I didn't. Um, and so then I'm down 80-0, and Alan was running like Bellerophon Voyager Fed fighters, and he just made a new player mistake of wanting to get a board kill. And so he stayed in the objective token area and the minefields, and I was able to get enough damage. My Hathaway went to work, and I just kept pumping dice into him and play him at all, but I just kept turning out rounds, and I was able to get the board wipe on him. And so that was 130, and that's the only reason I wound up with as many fleet points as I did. And then we all know how round 4 went because I went over that. So I did have a lot of fun playing in nationals. Uh, I just, it was frustrating. It was a frustrating time in that sense. And the story of my entire origins was my damage deck hated me because I played 2 quick plays with a Picard maneuver weapon 0, and so that's meant to do turn 1 disruption. And the first match, I go in, I take a stunt helmsman. Flip the table. We're done here. Uh, the second round, I bump the weapon 0 into my Borg tactical cube, and I'm just like, okay, fine, that's me being stupid. And that's against Jordan. The first round was against Dustin Gross, and then the second round's against Jordan Cott. Yeah, so I got thrown into the fire with the big boys right away. But then later on in the match, the weapon 0 takes a stunned helmsman and a warp core breach. I'm crying. My damage deck does legitimately hate me. It was also a situation, my Borg tactical cube, like, had to move one forward instead of one reverse. If I'd one reversed, I would have been off the board, and one forward put me into arc, and it took 16 dice from his constellation that Tucker's done a battle stations on, and that thing is ridiculously good. I love it. I love that it's there. I love that the USS Constellation, a Constitution class that we never thought would be any good, Jordan pulls out and does fantastic things. Lore, Vatosh Couture, it's like, bam, in your face, dice, and it's got quality because it's got Copilot. And yeah, second day it was more like stunned helmsman and not being able to do things in nationals, just explosion into a stunned helmsman or into a direct hit. I'm not saying that to complain and to argue. Luck is a part of this game. Dice luck, damage deck luck, that all happens. A lot of fun. I really did. And I wouldn't trade going for not going. It was so very much worth going. I would trade my damage deck in a heartbeat. And I probably should have run a different damage deck because I did bring two. But that's life, and I have stories to tell, and sometimes stories are worth something. I don't know. That that's that it's what it is. So yeah, I I give Origins the highest compliment in saying that I will be back next year unless something goes completely wrong, and that's the best that I can say. So yeah, if you're at all on the fence about going to Origins, it. Now, if you have to do a flight and you have to do hotel, it does start to factor in. It's expensive, and I won't deny that it's expensive. But there's things you can do, and there's ways to make it less expensive. The flight is the flight. If you really have to fly like me from California, driving out there is ridiculous. um, but it's different. And yes, Steve, you do need a revenge match against me because unfortunately for you, you caught me in the two games we played against each other. You caught me when I was angry. One was day 2 of side events when I was angry at the damage deck, not at any person, but I was angry. So I was running a pretty nasty Admiral Worf Colo build. And then you caught me right after Nationals. Or not right after. You caught me during Worlds when I was just mad that I wasn't playing in Worlds. And so I was running the Nationals fleet and trying to win side event prizes. And I did. I won 2 DS9 crew packs. So, um, and I hope that even though I was playing a fleet to the best of my ability, I did not come across as an arrogant jerk. I still came across as a genuinely good guy because the last thing I'd want to do is be a person. Uh, a fierce competitor, I will take that. But I do want to equip myself well as a person because at the end of the day, setting aside everything from Star Trek, my integrity, my person is worth more to me than a game. And yes, your Saleya did live. in the first match, and I tried my best to kill that thing, but yeah, I just could not chew through your Saleya. Uh, I tried, but you maneuvered quite well. I do actually have that match on film too. I, I'll have to get that edited and posted. Not even edited, really, just posted. It's a weird camera angle, but we'll get it. So, um, yeah, I. So, anyways, Origins has come and gone. We very much have a worthy champion. The crown has passed from one worthy champion to another worthy champion, and and that I think it's healthy for the game. I breaking up the Canadian duo, the power couple, as you would. Um, no, I'm not putting Jordan and or Joseph and Peter in some kind of a relationship. I'm just saying they're a power couple here. Uh, Breaking that up is good for the health of the game because it says that other people can win, and the variety of fleets was really good to see. The love, the care, the the enthusiasm that the players have for the game is quite evident, and that shows a lot. Um, it, it's Star Trek fans. We have a lot of we have a lot of good Star Trek fans in this game. Um, and I expect that these new things that come out, the ship packs, the faction packs, will shake up everything. I think the new rules will shake up everything, because as I'm putting this, this is going to be attack wing the next generation, and I will not apologize for the pun. Uh, so I'll get you out on this. The Whiz Kids dinner. They basically invade an Italian restaurant. The on Saturday night. That's when they conclude all of their world championships. So like everyone is dead tired and just exhausted because you've been at a convention running events for 4 days, and it's not just limited to WizKids employees or volunteers or anything, but that's the primary group who goes, and they sit at a lot of different booths and tables and whatnot. But in my group, there were 9 of us who went. There, Steve Stott was there with me, and there were Ben and Richard, and there were Jordan was there, the world champion, and there were some other folks. I won't go into everyone that was there just to protect some names, but it was a really good time. We talked about some stuff for Attack Wing. We talked about some stuff just at Origins. We talked about um, gaming. We talked about life, and it was just it was refreshing to get away from the convention for a couple of hours to have really good food, home style Italian or family style Italian food, just to get a break, and and to see people in a different element. It's you end up having there's a lot of tension that happens during a convention in 4 days with pretty much the same people. And you guys know me. I'm an advocate for the game. I like discussing the rules. I try to figure stuff out, and all of that can rub judges the wrong way. Uh, so I've enjoyed being able to go to that and talk rulings at that point because uh, it didn't matter. It truthfully didn't matter at that point. But it's all about people who really do want the best for attack wing. And that is even more why I say that the game is in the right kind of hands, and the future does look bright from my perspective. And if I could say more, I would, but I can't. And good things are coming. I can say that much. So I will call it there. Um, I'm going to go get myself some food. Now that I've been talking about food, I've made myself hungry. Um, Thank you all for watching. I appreciate being able to do these hangouts. It's fun. Until next time, we'll see you around the shipyard. Take care.